It's Thursday, March 25th, 2021. Episode 045. If you're keeping track, you are about to go down the rabbit hole with Joe and Brian. I'm Brian. With me, as always, my good friend Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
Very good.
good. Yeah. How's your week been?
The week has gone by surprisingly fast. Like normally, I'm like, oh yeah, this week's been dragging, but not this week. This
Yeah,
week's gone. Hmm?
I agree. I've stayed busy. I guess that had something to do with it, but yeah, it's been a pretty quick
Yeah,
week.
but I'm grateful for that.
No
I am
complaints.
grateful. What about yourself? Any excitement?
No, no real excitement. Some frustration, work related stuff, but I am excited to announce that tomorrow the new season of Formula One kicks off. Free
Oh, okay.
practice, yeah, free practice in Bahrain, 7 a.m. I obviously won't be watching it live, but it's something to look forward to. Red
Say,
Bull's supposed to be pretty competitive this year.
quick question. Like,
Yes.
why is it you always see like F1 races happening in places where people aren't? Like, you know, where's this one happening again? Like,
This is in Bahrain.
yeah, okay, yeah, Bahrain, Dubai, places literally on the other side of Earth.
I think they go where the money is.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of money in Bahrain.
A lot of
There's,
oil money in the
yeah,
Middle
yeah, yeah.
East.
There's no doubt about that.
And so I think that's where they go. Um, I do have, if we want to talk about this, we don't have to, but I do have another funny or me just being stupid story about overly complex cars.
Oh, you mean
And
like the one you had last week, where you were longing for your analog car in the digital, longing for an analog car in your digital car?
yeah, um,
I mean,
just
hey,
quick, if you want, if you think anyone's interested,
yeah,
this is
first,
about the M2 again.
yeah, first world problems are still problems, man.
Yeah. Um. So when we picked up the car, I bought it. I think I said I bought it from CarMax. I didn't buy it from a BMW dealership. So me and my brother went up there to pick it up because um, obviously it wasn't going to have hand controls on it from CarMax. So um, the plan was to pick it up. Keith would drive it back to my place, and so we did. We picked it up, signed the paperwork and all that, and we drove it back to my place, and so I'm going to have him park it in the garage, not and so anyway, I go in there, I'm waiting for him to pull it in, and the garage is there's not a lot of room in that garage anyway. It's really tight. Every time I pull in, it's always a task to get it situated so where it's not hitting the walls, but I can still open my doors all the way. Beside the point. Beside the point. Keith pulls in there, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Where's the park?" And I'm like, "What the hell? What?" He's like, "Where's the park at?" I was like, "I don't know. I mean, I don't know." I'm
Like,
thinking. I'm
I would have been
thinking.
like, how do you get to drive? Do the opposite of that.
Yeah. I'm thinking he's having a moment or something. I don't know, but so he does something, and the car lurches forward, and
Oh,
he goes through. He breaks the plaster on the garage in my garage wall.
oh,
But fortunately, he hit the brakes quick enough that it didn't do any damage to the car, but it did put a nice hole in my wall. But so it turns out this car has it's called a double clutch transmission. That's BMW's. I think it's a BM. I don't know. Other cars may have them. I'm sure they do. Well, I know they do, but I don't know what they call them. But essentially, it's an automatic, but if you want, you can also drive it as a manual.
Oh, nice.
Um, so yeah, it's either or, whatever you want to do. And so, and there's not a park. There's a neutral, there's a reverse, and there's a drive, but there's no park.
So you just put it in neutral and put the emergency brake on.
No, to park it, what you have to do is you just have to put it in drive and turn the car off.
Those
And then
damn Germans.
when you turn the car off, then it goes into park. But if you
Yeah,
want to
no.
stop, if you want to stop while the car's running, you got to put it in neutral and put the handbrake on. But anyway, I read an interview with the designer of it, and anyway, he said his goal when designing that transmission was to make it as much like a manual transmission as possible. So I guess he succeeded in that because
So, but how did you guys figure out?
I had to look it up.
Oh, so you got.
I did. I looked it up. I was like BMW M2 Park, and
It's probably a common
there's like
problem.
yeah there's like a thread, a forum. I think it's called Bimmer Forum or something like that, where every BMW question you ever ask on the internet goes to this forum. But yeah, that's how you do it. So anyway,
Problem solved.
two dumb guys buying a car that
Uh,
probably don't even need.
yeah, that's not dumb. I mean,
No,
yeah, I think every car you've been in your entire life up until that point had a park,
exactly.
BMW or not. So
Right.
you don't.
Yeah.
You get a pass.
Thank you. Thank you. Well,
Motherfucker, give me 2 fingers of Southern comfort.
what did bartender bring you tonight, Joe?
I am glad you asked.
Hmm.
Drink number one
Oh,
is is vodka cranberry. Sorry, no, vodka and grapefruit juice.
okay.
And drink number two is Old Faithful,
Now,
Pepsi and rum.
oh,
Yeah,
you're trying to show me up, bringing two drinks to the table now.
it's not a game. Not a game.
Now I got is that grapefruit juice sweetened? I mean, vodka has no taste, but grapefruit's pretty sour.
Yeah, this is like a grapefruit cocktail.
Okay, okay,
So I mean, yeah, you cocktail anything, it makes it more palatable.
right. I yeah, I'm calling this for now my mezcal keto concoction. Um, I decided I don't want to drink mezcal straight anymore. At least not that kind that I have.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny we're bringing up Moscow again.
Okay.
So I was talking to I have a neighbor. They live in the ground unit, and this person's been drinking Moscow for like 10 years. And so I was like, yeah, one of my good friends, my co-host, he just discovered Moscow, and he was drinking it, on the show last night. He did a taste test, and she was like, yeah, it's bastards like him that are now drinking it, that are making it more expensive for us, for us old time drinkers of the stuff. Like, what was the term she used? Like hipsters? Yeah.
Oh, I'm far from a hipster. I
Well,
think I think I think the problem well, she's probably right, but I, there's I think what I heard about there's an expensive, I don't know how expensive it is, but there's a Bryan Cranston and a buddy of his created a, you know how all these famous people do their
yeah, they're all making
Dan
booze.
Aykroyd has, yeah. So anyway, you know what?
Dan Aykroyd did one?
He's got a vodka. Yeah, if you ever seen
I
it,
did not know that.
yeah. If you see have you ever seen the bottles of vodka with the crystal skull top?
Can't say that I have. I'm sorry, but that's him.
That's Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
Nice.
Well,
But yeah,
tell her that I'm going to stop buying it so she can stop blaming me.
no, don't do that because I mean, if you do that, then they win.
Then they win. Yeah. So anyway,
But
I put a couple ounces of the mezcal in a shaker. I put about an ounce and a half of lime juice. I squirted in some stevia lemon
yeah.
drop sweetener with some ice and shook it up, dumped it in my little glass here, and It's a respectable replacement for a margarita.
Oh, good. Very good. Very
Yeah, I
good.
think so. Yeah. So I'm
There was one
enjoying it more than I did last week.
oh, there's one other thing I was going to tell you.
Hmm.
Apparently, they do make the Moscow without the burn.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll have to get I'll have to get her brand and send it your way. See if it's more palatable, less fire, less burn.
I am always more interested in the authentic, like the original, like stuff that they've been drinking forever. I'm always more partial, I think, to originals than remakes. Maybe if that's fair to say. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
find out what she drinks.
will do.
Yeah. So I got a couple. We got a couple updates this week for George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, and instead of uh, instead of us reading a article to the audience, I thought I'd let the professionals do it for us. Got a
Wait,
George Floyd update. Here we go.
The jury is now seated in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. He is charged with third-degree murder for the death of George Floyd last summer. Court records show there are 9 white jurors and 6 black or multiracial jurors. Some of those are alternates. Opening statements are set for Monday.
So yeah, I think uh, I'm gonna opening statement starting. So I'm gonna start watching. I think I'm gonna start watching the following the trial next week.
all right, cool. So you'll be the Action 5 reporter um, on the scene.
Yes. Here's what I this is what bothers me though, and this is what turned me off when I was trying to watch the. Well, first of all, the juror selection is boring, but
Yeah, it's pretty well.
they court TV they just sensationalize everything, and so if I can just watch the feed of the trial, then I'll stick with it. I hate when they keep going out and finding like the lowest common denominators of segments of the population and ask them questions about things. It's just it's embarrassing for the people, and it embarrasses me to watch them. Just it's like it's like they grab the toothless hill jack whose house is washed away by the flood for the 10th year in a row, and he's, oh, I'm going to rebuild. They find that they just find the worst, just the worst representative of a community, and
Yeah, there he is.
stick a microphone in their face. And as long as I can just watch the trial and avoid all the silliness, yeah, I'm going to follow it. I'm really interested in hearing this. This is going to be interesting.
Well, cool. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we look forward to your reports.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to even jot down notes and I'm going to try to do a good job at this.
Yeah, I'm sure you do a great job.
Oh, well,
So,
thank you.
any expectations?
But the first one thing I already have questions about the defense lawyer.
Nelson?
Yeah, I've made my feelings about him clear already. So I hope that he exceeds my low expectations and is and treats this, like it should be. And I hope he doesn't try to. I don't want to say Johnny Cochran it, because Johnny Cochran, he,
You think Johnny Cocker did a great job?
yeah, he did do a good job, but the prosecution didn't do themselves any favors either. But
Well, I mean, that's a defense attorney's job is to make the prosecution do theirs.
yeah, I know. I just hope he doesn't come across as he. And again, you know what? My only, I'm going strictly by just the way the guy looks. I shouldn't even. I should take all that back, because I don't know. Well, I'm going by the way he looks and some of the motions that he's filed that we've read about in the past.
Well, one thing, part of me says his job is to, I guess, two things: to slow things down and to literally get the court to review every alley, every you know, you know, give the court to examine every possibility that it wasn't his client's fault that Mr. Floyd is dead.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that Monday.
Okay.
I'll have to set I'm not used to doing it, so I'm gonna have to set myself a reminder or something to tune in, or otherwise it'll be noon and I will have completely forgot about it.
What time did it start? Do you know?
Huh?
What time did it start?
I don't know. I'm hoping 9 or 10, right?
Yeah, it'll probably start. Because it'll probably start at a decent hour. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they start super early, but maybe 9 or 10. I'll check. Um, let's see here. I also got us an Ahmaud Arbery update. This is 3 days old. Let's check it
Yeah.
out.
It's been a while since I heard anything about Ahmaud Arbery. I almost
Yeah.
forgot he died.
Here we go.
Potential jurors should be vaccinated and prosecutors need to start working. That is according to several motions filed this week in the case against the three men charged with murdering Ahmaud Arbery. 25-year-old Arbery was shot to death on a suburban Georgia street last February. In one motion, the attorney for one of the defendants, William Roddy Bryan, accused Georgia prosecutors of deliberately dragging out their investigation. He also asked the judge to proactively help potential jurors get vaccinated and to set a date for jury selection as soon as possible. Unlike the other two defendants, Bryan invoked his right to a speedy trial. All three men have pleaded not guilty.
So still no trial date. That was interesting to invoke your right to a speedy trial. I just thought that, yeah, you got that. I didn't know you had to. It was something that you had to specifically request. Did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I always thought that was just part of it as well. But then you hear about people sitting and rotting in jail for a year
Yeah,
or so before the trial starts. I'm like, oh, I guess that's not the case.
interesting. Yeah. So, yep, we'll keep following it. It's funny he's playing the COVID card.
Well, I mean, it's funny because, yeah, you would figure they want a speedy trial because unlike Chauvin, they're chilling in jail.
Yes.
Like, yeah, Chauvin, he's at some undisclosed location, eating
Right.
bonbons and probably planning his escape to Canada or some non-extradition country. But those guys are really suffering that. Well, they're not really suffering; they're getting their just dessert. But yeah,
If I was him in Minnesota, man, I would be in Canada.
I wouldn't go to Canada because it's so damn cold up there. But I mean, it can't be much warmer in Minnesota. So
Right, right. So, um, well, let's move on. Uh, we got some quick hits here. These are just things we want to talk about, but you know,
all right,
not they're not.
hit me.
Yeah, some interesting things here. Number one, and this was kind of a big story early on in the week.
Uh-huh.
Um, Evanston, Illinois becomes the first U.S. city to make reparations. Um, I got a clip here that we can listen to, and then we can discuss. Here we go.
A Chicago suburb is the first city in the nation believed to offer financial reparations to Black residents who suffered from decades of housing discrimination because of racist government policies. Many hope the historic program will pave the way for more reparations in other cities, but some are saying it's not enough. Jermont Terry with our Chicago station WBBM has more.
Across Evanston, there's a push to right the wrong done by the city. Several decades ago, African Americans were redlined. Here's a look at where Blacks could live in the city.
People of color, such as myself and my dad, who grew up here in Evanston, just a couple blocks over, this is the area where they could live.
Vanessa Johnson McCoy is a realtor in Evanston.
years ago, that was not the opportunity, that we just couldn't take them to anywhere.
She recalls the challenges her parents faced in the 1950s and knows the obstacles blacks in Evanston endured looking for housing.
The banks would not allow them to, they wouldn't give them money to buy outside of this area. It was very challenging.
She's pleased to see Evanston correct the wrong through reparations. The city already approved $10 million over a decade to put towards reparations from the pot revenue. Now $400,000 will be available to blacks whose families were impacted by the racist housing policy.
Well, I say it's definitely a start. And I say, yes, we have to begin somewhere.
What this plan is not reparations.
Sebastian Knowles organized the Evanston Rejects Racist Reparations Group. It supports reparations, yet the organization claims what the money can be used for places huge limitations.
Residents are unable to use their funds for anything other than housing.
Currently, less than 20 people will be eligible for the estimated $25,000. The money payments go towards home repairs, down payments, or mortgages. Evanston Rejects Racist Reparations says there's no accountability for the next phase.
You can't take a step forward without knowing what the second step is. And we don't know what the second step is.
Housing is just the first step, and there will be other parts of this initiative.
Yeah, so that one guy wasn't buying it, but
I want to know who was buying it.
yeah,
Who said, you know what, $25,000 to possibly 20 families in Evanston is reparations by me.
20 out of how many families?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then of course the restrictions of what you can spend the money on. It's like, it sounds like me. It's like, we're going to give you money so that you can turn around and give it to
one of our buddies.
Yeah, probably people that we're in bed with. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts? And the other thing, like we discussed this over chat. We want to know the quality. What are the, speaking as far as the bloodlines go, descendants of slavery. What are their qualifications for these families? That we'd like to see that.
Yeah, I got an idea what they should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
They should be like, okay, like, you want this piece of money? Show us in your family tree where you're on your mother's side and your father's side that their families were here in the United States in, let's say, 1955, 1954. Mm-hmm. And I say that because that's about when Brown versus Board came about. The striking down of separate but equal. If you were here then and your family was enduring that, yeah, you can get reparations. My opinion. But this isn't it, and it's glad to see that somebody's on the job calling it out for it not being what they say it is.
Do you think, as the woman said, that it's a good first step?
No. I mean, I think they could have called this so many other things in reparations. No, it's a terrible first step, and it's a terrible first step because they call it reparations. Had they called it like some type of homeowner program in Evanston that was supported by the local government, I could get with that. But to call it reparations is no.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, words mean things, and that's
exactly
not what reparations.
That's a great way. Yeah, words have meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say, and I don't want to go too long, but it is good to see that there is an effort to, that more and more people are seeing seeing how the government played a hand in denying Black people full citizenship. Because, I mean, the fact that, and I've not been to Evanston, but I know Northwestern University is there, so I just assume it's a pretty white city, and so for them to in some way acknowledge that their government played a role in that is progress, because heretofore you couldn't get anyone to say that the government had a role and that.
Yeah, that is a good that is a positive to take away from it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're looking for that ray of sunshine, I'm John Denver, sunshine on my shoulder.
All righty. Um, this will be fun.
I knew you were looking for an opportunity.
Yeah. So this is just crazy, Joe. I almost want to. I don't know. I can't believe that things like this apparently still happen in 2021. I'll just read the headline and
But
why?
before you go too far, I mean,
Okay.
all the dumb people didn't just die at the end of 2020.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just had to say
Um.
that.
Sure. um. White headmaster at New York Catholic school resigns after telling a black student to kneel and apologize, quote, the African way, unquote. Um, the headmaster was temporarily removed from his job at St. Martin de Porres School in Hempstead, New York, over the weekend after parent Tricia Paul went to the local press regarding her 11-year-old son's treatment at the school. The incident was first reported by New York Daily News. I one, I'm not sure what the African way means, but regardless, what, why, what are you thinking?
Oh no, I mean like the very phrase "the African way." It's like you forget that Africa is a continent. You know, I mean, well, not that you forget, but it's like the
Yeah,
guy forgot that Africa is a
absolutely.
continent. And on that continent there are many different cultures and languages and blah blah blah. But yeah,
Um, yeah, I just I mean I don't have any other comment on that, but it's just I just can't. It's just crazy. It was crazy to me. I couldn't, like when you sent it to me, I was like, come on, please let me find like something that like it was a lie or that was made up or something. I don't know, but since the guy quit and the school has acknowledged it, man, I guess it
yeah,
happened.
yeah. That was pretty boneheaded.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Um, the headmaster, according to Paul, told her about the former student whose father had once told him to bow when apologizing, calling it the Nigerian way. I was at a loss for words, Miss Paul, who, along with her son, is black and is black and a descendant of Haitian descent, told CNN. So, I mean, yeah, he got it wrong. So, like, perhaps if the guy was Nigerian, there wouldn't have been an issue. But this guy's Haitian, so I guess there is.
Yeah, there's a difference there.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Hmm.
It's funny because like I've heard of parents making their Asian parents making their kids bow to police or bow to their teachers, and in Thailand they're always bowing. Like it's nothing to walk into a school and see a bunch of kids bowing before the teacher. It's odd in America, but bowing is kind of like bowing and scraping is just kind of like normal in different parts of the world. But
That's
huh?
that's interesting. I said that's interesting.
Yeah. But I get the feeling that this guy's not going to have any other students apologize the African way anymore. I just,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see him making the same mistake twice.
um. All right.
So I guess the
Now,
moral of the story is
oh,
if you're going to have somebody apologize in the African way, you should probably make sure they're African.
that would help.
Yeah,
That would help.
or better yet, just before having them bow, maybe you should just stop.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah. Actually, just
Yeah,
don't do it.
yeah.
Go back to the old way and just like beat the shit out of their knuckles with a ruler or something like that.
Yeah, I heard that Catholic schools are getting soft, man.
Mm. Well, we're going to talk about Catholic,
Yeah,
the Pope here in a little bit,
yeah.
and
The Catholics may be getting soft, but not in all ways.
yeah. I'm going to reorganize the agenda here, Joe, and move the Joe Biden stuff to the end because it will take the longest to do because we do have several clips, and we're going to touch on his um, press conference today. So I want to just drop down to, and I'm not even going to click on the link and read it. I don't even care about the story. The headline is just the headline. The headline just it's people out there. I'm relying on you to make your own joke if you see one. Uh, now listen, Kamala Harris to
Wait, wait,
host.
wait, wait. You said it wrong.
No, Kamala
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kamala Harris to host Empowering Women event with none other than Bill Clinton. So, all right.
Um,
Um,
yeah, that's a headline. That's a headline fit to have come from the Onion.
yeah. I mean, even and maybe I don't know. I'm not like I said. I'm not commenting on it. I like the headline was just funny, and um, if you find it funny, good. If you don't, sorry. Um, and then this next one, people have to either Google this or go to the show notes and check his. I got a picture of this is in Europe right now. They're coming up with nose masks, and
A nose mask.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
see that.
apparently, apparently they're not worried about people coughing, I guess, and eating and talking. It's all about the nose, I guess. I don't know, man. This
Yeah,
is
I can't remember the last time I've seen such a dumb looking photo.
yeah. They certainly
Yeah.
they yeah. I know.
Is this a joke too?
No, it's
This
not a
looks
joke.
like it could be a joke.
It does,
It's
and
like he
there are a lot of nose COVID related gadgets that are out there, and some of them may be jokes, but I'm pretty sure this is legit.
but looking at the guy who's wearing it, I mean,
Mm,
this is not a good look.
no,
Like I think I would sooner just put on the full face mask so I wouldn't look like an idiot. At least with the full face mask, they can't tell who you are.
right? Yeah, I'm no, I'm with you. If I had to wear one or the other, definitely not doing this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, people look it up, or like I said, go to the show notes and check it out. But it's
Yeah,
kind of ridiculous.
yeah. This is one of those inventions that needs to go back to the drawing board.
Yes. Um, that said, again,
Are you
um,
having fun with that, man?
dude, yeah, you're gonna get sick of hearing that little swoosh because it's really cool. So yeah, this is a section on Joe Biden, and initially my initial purpose on this was I've long since given up the whole so what about this argument in that well if my guy might have done this but what about when your guy did that, this whole tit for tat thing. It's when it comes to debates or arguing, it's kind of pointless. But when it comes to like if trying to prove a point, I mean, I guess it can kind of be kind of illustrative, and that was my original goal with this. Have you seen the video of Biden tripping, trying to walk up the stairs to Air Force One?
Yeah, I saw that about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, but that could like, but So I saw it and I thought to myself, yeah, it looks bad, but that could be anyone.
It could, yes. But my purpose for all this initially was, and this is kind of like, this is like two segments. This is going to be my criticism of the media, but then we're going to move into more serious, his speech today at a press conference. So yeah, what do I got here? And first of all, and this is kind of just like, I'm overall, the tripping up the stairs, his lapse with his problems with speaking. I just, you can kind of brush it off, uh, as, yeah, sure, he's getting old or whatever, but it's becoming more than just, it's not like an occasional thing. This is a regular thing. I want to play a clip. This is just Joe Biden from a speech, I don't know, a week or so ago, but um, this just, and like I said, and again, like I said, I know that I made a policy. I said I wasn't going to play these clips and make fun of Joe Biden's verbal gaffes, but I'm making an exception this show because I'm not making fun of him. I legitimately think there's a problem, and these are my proof, I guess, or my arguments for that. So that being said, just um, here's a verbal gaffe number one.
There's something called a child tax credit. What that basically means is you get a tax credit for every child you have. The American Rescue Plan expands that credit. It means that families of over 2 million children in Georgia will be eligible for an increase in that child tax credit of $1,600 per year per child.
So not a big deal. I know he just, tripped up, but it's not like a one-off thing. It keeps happening. I have another clip here, where, maybe this is one of those slip ups where the truth wants to come out.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona.
Yeah, I think I missed that.
One more time?
Sure.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona.
He said President Harris, not Vice President Harris.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are gaffes. I don't see them as, like, if he were on stage and like forgot his name, that would be like, oh, good, this guy needs to needs to sit down someplace. But yeah, that doesn't concern me.
Okay. Now, do you recall last? I guess it was 2020, probably during the campaign. Trump, when he had given us rally at West Point, and afterwards he was walking down this ramp, talking to like a general or somebody, and he was like, being very cautious about it, one step at a time, while being very methodical and really concentrating on his walking down the stairs. Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I remember you making reference to it, but I still haven't seen that.
Okay. Well, they'll reference it in these clips, but here's the thing. Here's what, I guess I would maybe give Biden a pass on this whole tripping up the stairs if he wouldn't have said this last year, talking about Trump and his being cautious walking down the ramp.
So the president take a fall on the stairs. Is he doing okay?
I do know it's pretty windy outside.
I'm sorry. That was I got one clip ahead of me. This is a reporter asking. I'm not sure who he's asking, but he's asking if Biden is okay after chipping. So that's what this clip is. Sorry.
Saw the president take a fall on the stairs. Is he doing okay?
I do know it's pretty windy outside. It's very windy. I almost fell coming up the steps myself. He is doing 100%.
So, just I mean, it's her job to make excuses, I guess. But he that all happened because it was windy out. Now here's the clip that I was talking about that Joe probably regrets saying.
Look at how he steps and look how I step. Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps. Okay, come on.
Okay, yeah.
Shouldn't have said it. He just should.
Yeah.
Right then and there, karma was like, really? Okay.
But I honestly believe there's probably a falling down or tripping up the stairs for every president who's ever got, all of them. Okay. I mean, I just, when it comes to stairs and gravity, it's gonna catch you one way or another over enough time. So,
well, it's still talking about that very same incident where Trump walked slowly down the stairs, and this is why I will forever. CNN will never ever have credibility in any sense with me.
Wait. So this is what did it?
No, but this is
okay.
This is a good. I could do an entire show of clips illustrating why, but no, this is a good example of one.
There are some questions this morning about President Trump's health, and it's because of this video of the president where you see him walking very haltingly, one leg at a time. It starts happening here, down a ramp, and this is after he gave a commencement speech at West Point. So joining us now with what he sees is CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Is it balance problems? Is there some weakness there? Is there numbness in the feet?
Still not done. This is.
I'm actually surprised. Sanjay did that. I mean, typically they advise. I mean, typically doctors are like, yeah, I'm not going to try and. What word am I looking for? When a doctor says what he thinks is wrong with you.
Diagnose.
Yeah. Typically they don't try and diagnose people through TV and without having actually sat down and counseled the person. So I'm surprised that he did that.
Well, like I said, politics corrupts everything, and this is purely political. This is just political hack jobs. And this is another chick off of CNN. I don't know who her name is, but this is just bizarre. Here we go.
Ever since first hearing about the phobia rumor, I've become slightly obsessed with watching President Trump watch his step. Really watching his step coming down the stairs of the Capitol, even while climbing just a couple of steps at the White House. Coming off his plane, eyes on his feet, clutching the railing.
While that video is playing, the chyron on the screen says, "Is Trump afraid of stairs?"
Yeah. Hey,
So,
well, I mean, I understand why you'd be like, yeah, they lose credibility. And this is not to defend them. And this, this is kind of, it does not defend them. It kind of poo-poos them. You don't go to CNN for unbiased, objective news on politics.
Well, that's fair. But that kind of concludes my hey, look at how horrible CNN is segment.
I mean, we could probably make a regular segment of that. I mean, well, that will probably require watching CNN, which,
Yeah. Yeah, and all those clips I got from I followed links off of Gab, so I certainly didn't watch and collect those links myself. However, as we move on into this next section where we talk about Biden's press conference today,
these clips are all taken. I listened to 30 minutes of his press conference, and to be honest, that's probably 25 more minutes than I've ever listened to any Trump speech. So, um, and I did. When I listened to this speech, I listened to the press conference, and um, like the first 20 minutes was his opening statement, and he did a lot of talking about uh, COVID. I think that's mostly what he talked about was COVID, and it was fine. What did you think? I'd like to get some of. He threw out a lot of statistics that I'd like to see fact checked, but aside from that, I mean, what did you think of like his opening statements? Did
Yeah, I think he presented quite well. And you're right, he did. He did throw out a lot of statistics, some of which were very helpful and kind of touched on what we had talked about last week with regard to, when they say unaccompanied minors. I think the average person, their mind thinks to like, 4 and 5 year olds, and he said something to the effect of like, 70% of the people of the unaccompanied minors they pick up are like 16 and 17 years old and male.
I picked up on that as well. Yes,
Yeah, and so
that
I
was
mean, we had talked about how like we people are typically thinking of like kids, on the border, but it's it's not kids. It's and
young
this makes it,
adults.
yeah. But these are people that are full full mustaches and possibly beards. Not that this makes it I guess my point is that, like you said earlier, we have the image of kids on the border, like young kids, when they're like really, almost adults. And
Yeah,
that's not to say
chance.
that almost adults need to deserve to starve and roast in the desert, but it's good to know what you're dealing with. Then he said something to the effect about 1% of the unaccompanied minors are actually like like young kids. So that was all very good. But I
Yeah,
will say, during the conference, he made reference to like no, sorry, some reporter said, "Oh yeah, we talked to the to a kid down there in one of the holding facilities, and he's like 9 years old, and the kid came up with a he said like most of the kids come up with like a phone number or something like that of a contact somewhere in the United States." And I thought to myself, "Oh my goodness, that's
okay. I'm glad you brought that up because he touched on that. My clips. I have 3 clips, and they come from the press conference where he was
right."
taking questions. But I have one of my clips kind of touches on that, so I'm glad that you're in tune with that and that we can talk about it when we get to it.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I'll say this, and this is going to be controversial, and I know that you'll push back probably, and people listening will push back. But and you listen to it. Did you watch it or just listen?
I did both. I watched and listened
Okay.
to it.
I this is just, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can possibly be, but I did not. I do not feel like he, and, and I'm going to bring we haven't heard this term since the Bush administration, but I don't feel like he has the gravitas of a president of the
What?
United
He's got
States.
plenty of presidential gravitas.
I was watching a feeble old man who was barely making it. That's the impression
No,
that I got.
no. I mean,
He was there fumbling through his notes the entire time. He just I'm sorry, man. That's just the impression that I got. And I know that I've got this bias, but do you think? I mean, I just can't imagine any other world leaders looking at him and being like, "We respect this man in any way." I just don't see it.
um, I could see it. I mean, I
Okay.
think. I mean, some people have good inside game and some people have good outside game. I don't believe you get to be, a senator for a lifetime, a vice president for 8 years, and then president, and yeah. So I think, yeah, I think you don't like the guy.
and there's a lot to not like about him, and so every little quirk about him you magnify.
Well, you're right in that he's been a senator for a long time.
He's been a senator for about as long as you've been alive.
Longer than that, I think.
That's a long
I
time.
mean, this is him at the press conference answering. They're really pushing him about the filibuster, and this was one of his
Yeah,
answers to the.
the second question he got about the filibuster was a very good one. Like, hey, like, it's is it a relic from Jim Crow or whatever? And he's like, yes. And then she's like, well, why do you support it? But play the clip.
Okay, here's the clip that I pulled.
We should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that
I thought that too.
Required for the filibuster.
That's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, I was a joke.
The thing is, I thought it was a joke too, but no one laughed. He kept on going as though it wasn't a joke. It just, I hope that it was a joke, but I'm afraid that it probably wasn't.
Yeah, but I'm sure that if we went back to the history books and looked up 120 years about not revolutionary war, the Civil War, we're not going to find a Senator Joe Biden. And it just sounded to me like a joke that was poorly executed and then fell flat. And then, the only thing that makes a joke even worse is when it falls flat and the person tries to revive it. So, I mean, the joke fell flat, but he acted as a professional in terms of just moving on. What?
Okay.
I don't believe that.
I know that you do. I disagree, but that's beside the point.
So you think he got you think he just filled in a number?
He does it. Yeah, it's the same as 12 million children in Georgia. It's. Yeah, I don't think that all of his synapses are firing. He's had the top of his head taken off and operated on 2 times. You can't tell me that there's no side effects to that.
Which means that you should look at him as a miracle man.
I guess so, man.
After having his head lopped off twice, he can still run the world.
He can try. Anyway, these clips. Yes, I know. I heard that and I had to clip it. I'm sorry, but.
I heard it too. I thought to myself, yeah, Brian won't want to hear that. And
okay, well,
I think I can even tell you where it happened in the. What you were saying?
The clip's not over though. I still have that. That was at the beginning, but the rest of the clip is worth listening to.
All right.
I think.
Filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them. That it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster. That whole time. Last year alone, there were 5 times that many. So it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down. We were able to break the filibuster.
Yeah. I got here. I got another. Oh. This, and I'll be honest, this is when I got one other clip after. I'm playing these clips out of order, but you set me up with he's been in the Senate a long time. I had to jump to the 120-year clip.
Okay.
But this is the follow-up, and this is where this was probably when you mentioned earlier his senior moment. But I tried after this. I tried to keep listening after this, but it was just hard for me to listen to, so I stopped. But this is just. I don't know, man. It's like he just gives up.
I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if you if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. And if we have to, if there's complete lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster, then we'll have to go beyond what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that happened about 18 minutes into the conference.
Yeah, well, anyway, like I said, I genuinely believe there's a problem, but
well, yeah,
I'm not making fun. I want to, we're yeah. This is the episode where I'm breaking my rule, I suppose. I have one more clip, and this is an interesting clip, and this isn't has nothing really other than that Joe Biden is saying this. I just find this super interesting when they're talking about this. They're talking about the border, the little kids at the border. We may even listen to this a couple times. I don't know, but listen to this and tell me what you think.
Well, we've set up a system now where within 24 hours there's a phone call made as that child crosses the border. And then a verification system being put in place as of today to determine quickly whether or not that is a trafficker being called or that is actually a mom, a dad, and or a close relative.
Now, how does that work? I want to know how that is done. It's got to be some sort of an automated system because it can't be done manually, I don't think. But how do they determine that the phone call is to a trafficker or a mom or dad?
I'm sure there are varying ways you can crack that nut. But it's funny because as I heard that, I remember thinking to myself, like, Mike, I mean, it dawned on me that I'm a bad person. Because to me, it's like, oh, you're here illegally and your kid's now here illegally. But now that we know where you are, you both can go back. That was my thought.
Well, that's what I wanted. That's what I was talking about earlier, and this is what I wanted. So I guess I misunderstood when I was listening and clipped this initially because my thought. Well, let's finish this, and then I'll bounce off of it.
They're establishing that right off the bat. If it in fact is mom or dad, dad says to take the extreme case, I got a birth certificate. Then guess what? We're getting that kid directly to that parent immediately.
So they're talking about the dad. So the dad is, are they calling the dad who's already in the country, or are they calling the dad who's back in?
They're calling the dad already in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said earlier in the call that like most of these kids show up with like a bracelet or a phone number in their pocket, and
right.
it's some relative, uncle, mom, aunt that's in the States already.
That's a little bit better. I was initially thinking, why isn't the parent with the kid? But I guess
these are the unaccompanied minors.
If the parent came ahead of time, I suppose. I mean, the parent should still stay with the kid, but I can at least understand, leaving the kid back with a relative or something while they go seek a better life. But yeah, anyway, feel bad for the kid, for the kids.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, I feel bad for everybody in the scenario.
Sure.
Except for like the street gangs and the coyotes, but and he made reference to it in the press conference, like, hey, no one looks up and says, hey, I just want to travel 2,000 miles to get to America because I just have the need to walk. No, oftentimes the conditions that these people are living under are terrible, right? And that it's an act of desperation to make the decision to get up and leave Honduras or Guatemala or some Central American country to make your way up here. I've got nothing but compassion and empathy for people who find themselves in such a
horrible position. Yeah, I do. And then this kind of makes me think about that. You ever heard the term cognitive dissonance,
Oh yes,
where
yes,
you
yes.
have conflicting values, and so like one value, yeah, I want to help people. I don't want anyone to suffer, but at the other value, like it just doesn't. It just not a. It just isn't feasible that everybody who has a yeah, it's just not feasible.
Right. I got you for sure. Um, yeah. So the only other comment I have on the press conference that I found interesting was uh, just how overly respectful the press was with Biden as compared to a Trump press. It was a lot of sirs, a lot of president sirs,
No,
and no yell,
I think.
there was no yelling questions at him there was no Jim Acosta's yelling questions.
Well,
Um,
but part of me said Jim Acosta, his whole goal was to get kicked out so he could cry about the press freedoms and then sell more copies of his book that no one read. So I mean, I think Jim Acosta was just grandstanding, and you know during the
well,
Trump
he's
administration he wasn't
but
really.
it's only but he's the only name that I could think of. Pretty much, I can't recall ever seeing a press conference where the press was polite.
The press is usually not polite to anyone, and I mean, you probably he. I do recall him getting a couple softball questions, but I do recall him getting some tough questions. So I wouldn't say it wasn't a cakewalk for him. I don't think that was the case.
No, that's not what I mean. The questions might have been legitimately tough, but just the 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 decorum,
The
the way
deference, like
yeah,
yeah, you could tell
the
he
way the
voted for
press
this
acted.
guy, huh?
Yeah, yeah, exactly what you just said. Exactly. Um, any other comments that you wanna
Well,
touch on with this?
yeah, I think the deference is going to go away because you got to remember this was his very first news conference.
True.
So I mean, and from what I could tell, it seemed like they had a more than a couple people that were pretty young and new reporters, and so they were probably just excited to get a question with the president of the United States, and so
Okay.
yeah, I didn't think they were overly deferential, or I didn't think he got a bunch of softball questions. I thought it was just like your very first press conference with the new president. So I didn't see all the problems you saw.
Okay. Um, well, on the very first show that I shake up the format, I'm going to break it already, and I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and take our scheduled break now. We ran a little long on the Joe Biden thing, but we needed to because it was important. So we're going to take a break. Everybody, refresh your drinks, use the restroom, do what you got to do, and yeah, we'll be back before you know it. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back. Hope
Yeah.
everybody's drinks are topped off and we're ready to go.
I know mine is.
Yeah. So I guess the big stories that we just that just dominates everything uh, this past week has been two almost back to back mass shootings. The first one was in Georgia at the massage parlor, and then the most recent at in Boulder. Boulder, Colorado, at a supermarket. Um, is it just me, or does it seem like whenever shit goes down in Colorado, it's like always Boulder?
Um,
Is Boulder?
uh,
Is that just me?
no, I mean it's funny. I had a similar reaction. I remember thinking to myself, like, what the hell is going on in Colorado where every
Yeah.
time you turn around, there's a mass shooting there?
Well, where did the movie theater shooting with the Joker take place? Was that Boulder?
Uh, let's find out.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
check that out for me, Joe. You're my truth seeker, my fact checker.
let's see here. What was the name of that shooting? Batman.
Yeah, the Batman guy at the movie theater. Do movie theater
Is a
Colorado shooting.
Batman killer.
Make sure you
It
mention
was
movie theater.
Aurora.
Aurora. Okay. So maybe
Isn't
I'm wrong.
Isn't it like down the street from like Columbine?
I'm not sure. Maybe it could be. But yeah, a lot of you're right in that it seems like a lot of shit goes down in
Yeah, I mean, like,
Colorado. And I don't want to say this without doing my own independent verification, but I've heard that Colorado has one of the most stringent gun control laws in the country.
really?
So that's what I've heard. I need to
Hmm.
I need to it needs to be independently verified by me
Yeah,
or
that's something
you.
we can look up.
Yeah. But
But like,
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, it just seemed like, yeah, every time you turn around, there's somebody with a gun in Colorado just shooting stuff up. And it's funny because I know a lot of people from Colorado, and without fail, they're usually some of the more attractive people, as in, like, they're not like ugly, they're not fat, they're just, they're trim. I think Colorado is one of the most physically fit states in the union. But and every person I know from Colorado is nice to a T. But I'm beginning to get the feeling that there's some dark psyche part of Colorado that us outsiders just don't understand. Because, like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
have there been any mass shootings in the state of Ohio or Kentucky?
I'm sure that there has, but they weren't reported. I've not heard about them.
Well, yeah, I'm from
There always
Missouri.
seems to be more. There always seems to be more than I think there would be.
Yeah.
Like I would say no, but I know that if I went and looked it up, that there would be some. But they weren't reported.
Here, let
Or at
me.
least
Let's see.
they're not reported like these have been. While you're looking it up, I'll tell you my connection. It's weird, my connection with Colorado, in that I have a cousin who's her and her family are live in Colorado. When a coworker when I worked at my previous job, one of my coworkers who was as good of a friend as I guess a coworker can be that you've never met and only talked to. Um, he was located in Colorado, and when I worked at the bank, like my very first job in IT, for some reason it was a small local bank, but it was weird. They were based out of like the Dayton, Ohio area, but it's weird. They had branches in Florida. They had branches. They had a branch on Hilton Head Island, and they had like 3 or 4 branches in Colorado. One being Boulder, I think. So, it's I don't know. It's just that's how my life interacts with Colorado. But yeah, really, that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. Um, What'd you find out? What'd you find out about mass shootings in Kentucky?
I looked up Ohio.
Okay, what'd you find out about Ohio?
Well, there was one in 2018. I actually remember this one. Guy shot up killed 3 folks. 2018 mass shooting occurred in Cincinnati, Ohio, United States on September 6, 2018, 9:10 a.m. Omar Santa Perez, 29 years old, opened fire with a Taurus PT 809E 9mm. Blah 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 blah, killing 3 people. I remember that.
That's crazy.
So it seems to be 1, 2. There's also a mass shooting in Dayton in 2019.
I do remember that. That was at a bar.
And then let's see here.
Actually, that did get a lot of press.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, who knew if you typed in mass shootings Ohio, you get a listing of all the mass shootings in Ohio. I guess it makes sense that that's what you would get if you type it in, but who would think to catalog the mass shootings?
Exactly.
So, like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's see how many are in Colorado, just for perspective.
Right.
Okay. Oh, this is the Boulder. That's what I'm looking for. List of shootings.
Wouldn't it be funny if it's just 3? Columbine, Aurora, and Boulder, and we're just like
blowing anything out of proportion.
What is it? It's the the Mandela effect. we could have swore there's been tons of them, but it's really just been the 3.
That's one of the things we cover in one of our earlier shows.
We did. We talked about the Mandela effect.
All right, so let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Go, Colorado. You're the winner. You're number one.
Number 1.
Foam finger number 1.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, they're all, like, every last one of them, nice people, but apparently I think it's got to be all that crisp, clean mountain water.
Or they're so fucking high up in the air.
Oh, yeah,
that they're oxygen deprived.
Yeah, and so as a result, instead of coming to peaceful resolutions like people normally would, they just start shooting. I'm sure there's somebody doing like a sociological dissertation for their PhD, trying to look at what's going on in Colorado.
Yeah, well, they'll blame it on legalizing weed.
Oh yeah. I mean I guess that makes all the sense in the world. Like someone smokes weed and just wants to go on a murderous rampage. That doesn't sound like that the effects of that drug to me.
Oh yeah,
that sound about right to you?
Yeah. When I smoke weed, I want to go kill people, man.
Oh yeah. Murder fest, like kill them all. That's your answer to everything.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's funny, man.
Funny boo-hoo, but still funny.
Funny boo-hoo. Yeah. All right, so I got a couple clips for us to get out of the way, and then we can dive into these 2 incidents. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
Tonight, breaking news and new developments of a deadly mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado. At this hour, we know at least 10 people were killed this afternoon, including a Boulder police officer. Right now, 1 suspect is in custody after opening fire at a grocery store.
At 14:30 hours, the Boulder Police Department began receiving phone calls of shots fired in the area. and a phone call about a possible person with a patrol rifle. Officer Talley responded to the scene, was the first on the scene, and he was fatally shot.
A chaotic scene as dozens
Was that you?
of officials, including a SWAT team, responded.
It was not me, but that's the clip. That's the clip that I stole the swoosh from.
I'm like, wait a second, this guy.
I heard that. And I was like, I gotta grab that shit. That's too good. So yeah, that was the original swoosh. That's hilarious that you picked up on that.
To reports of an active shooter at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, Monday afternoon.
There was loss of life. We have multiple people who were killed in this incident. And I am sorry to have to report that one of them was a Boulder police officer.
The suspect reportedly firing several shots.
All of a sudden, we heard in succession, boom, boom, boom. And by the third one, we're like, got to get out of here.
Witnesses say a man wearing tactical gear carrying an AR-15 style weapon with dark hair and a beard opened fire.
Now, I want to make a point there. If you heard what she said, she didn't say an AR-15. She said an AR-15 style weapon. So, I keep seeing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I picked up on that, but I guess the thing I was concentrating on before that was that it took the guy that was there to hear 3 shots before it died.
3 times before he's like, "Yeah, I got to get the fuck out of here."
Exactly. I'm like, I thought to myself, yeah. I think that the very first time I recognized it as a gunshot, I'm like, yeah, it's time to go.
Yep.
Fire outside of King Soopers, prompting customers and employees inside the grocery store to take cover as the gunshots continued.
There is no ongoing public threat, that we do have a person of interest in custody.
At one point, cameras captured police escorting a shirtless, shoeless man in handcuffs with a bloody leg across the parking lot. His involvement is not clear at this point. Authorities escorted the man to an ambulance, which left the scene for a nearby hospital minutes later. And witnesses say he was not the only person to sustain injuries.
I saw some victims on the ground as I came around the corner, so I knew what was happening.
Police say the investigation remains active, with the ATF joining the effort. Hunter Davis, Fox News.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That. Can you just imagine? I mean, have you ever thought about what would you do if you was in a grocery store that it's like? I mean, I don't know how big. Yeah. I don't know how big this Super King grocery store was. I think
it makes me think it's not small.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't it just be I don't know, man. Would you hide? Would you try to break? Well, that'd just be crazy, man.
The very first thing I'd do is be still and try to figure out where they're coming from. So I'd be pissed at all the people screaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to know where the gunshots were coming from, so I can run the opposite direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's funny because, when I first heard about this shooting a few days ago, that's the very first thing I thought of. Like, wouldn't that be crazy? You're going about your everyday life, doing stuff, and next thing you know, there's a guy with a gun. And that's pretty scary.
It is, yeah.
Looking at this guy, he looks like a white guy, but by the name, he doesn't sound like a white guy. Ahmad Ali Alyssa.
Yeah, I think he's originally from Syria, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, the big thing that I took away from looking at him was the pictures that was plastered of him on TV, or at least on the internet after the shooting, was these young, fresh-faced kid who you just can't imagine doing it. But when you look at his mugshot,
that guy looks like a mass shooter.
He's changed a bit, yeah. Actually, I think when it was first reported, when they was calling it in, I don't have the clip, but I heard it. They reported it in as a white male with black hair and a
Yeah,
beard
yeah,
wearing
yeah.
whatever. So
And that's
yeah,
probably
that's
the only reason he's still alive.
that's what I was thinking. Isn't it crazy? I mean, usually these mass shooters, I don't want to say usually, but more often than not, I think they usually take their own lives. It's like they either they kill themselves or they do the whole death by cop thing. But it's
Yeah,
like this. I think the dude in Georgia
they take him alive
surrendered,
too.
and yeah, and then this guy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it seemed like we're not making the same grade of mass murderer anymore because yeah, these guys are getting taken alive. I would assume that if I did something like that, I wouldn't want to be taken alive because what good is coming out of that for you?
Yeah, yeah,
And
for sure.
have we heard anything about his motive?
No, they're not. No, they're not saying. The only thing I've heard. Well, okay. I've got. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here in a little bit.
That is the name of the show, man.
Yeah, but we got to talk about. Well, it's the old name of the show.
Oh, you're right. I may
but
have.
We haven't. But we haven't told the people about that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I've heard reports, and I don't know. Maybe it's in here. Yeah. It's when we get to these bullet points in the show notes, we'll get to it. But apparently, he had. They say he's got some mental problems.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people would love to jump on and say it was a terrorist attack and whatnot, but I'll allow for the fact that it's just sometimes people are just fucked up, quote unquote.
A lot of time people are messed up.
I mean, I don't. I mean, maybe he had a reason, but I've not heard of it yet.
Yeah.
Now, before we get there, though, let's not forget. And this clip, I'm not super happy with this clip, but I'll be honest with you, and you may if you've been trying to find news information about old stories on the internet, it's hard to do, man. They get pushed out of the search algorithms quick.
Oh yeah.
So this is all I could find for what happened in Georgia. As far as it's all I could find based off like original source, not everything that you find now or like people commenting on it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I found. This is from PBS. This is massage murders. And so yeah, here we go.
The suspect, who confessed to a shooting spree at 3 spas in the Atlanta area, was charged today with multiple counts of murder. 8 people were killed. The attacks have prompted greater anger and fear within the Asian American community in Georgia and around the country. Stephanie Sy begins with this report.
The mass shooting of 6 Asian women at their place of work and 2 other white victims is reverberating around the country. The full motive behind the attacks is still unclear.
We are very early in this investigation. Even though we have made an arrest, there's still a lot more work to be done.
21-year-old Robert Aaron Long, now in custody and charged with murder and assault, has admitted to the shootings. Officials in Georgia who are investigating the case with the help of the FBI said he frequently visited massage parlors in the past and denied his attacks were racially motivated.
He does claim that it was not racially motivated. He apparently has an issue, what he considers a sex addiction, and sees these locations as something that allows him to go to these places, and it's a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate.
So there you go. That's what I got.
That last line was amazing.
Okay. Now give me your thoughts before I throw out my random crazy thoughts.
I was gonna call on one of the guys for whom I sent a video of his to you before. You remember the guy, the Frimpong guy?
The what guy?
His last name is Frimpong. I sent you a video of his a couple of weeks ago.
If I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know the name, but I think I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Go
a
ahead.
black guy. I probably just sent you the audio.
Oh, a black guy.
But I probably just sent you the audio though.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well,
but
go ahead.
His idea is something kind of crazy, and I'm pretty sure you'll likely find insult in it. But it's once again mind expanding and worth pondering.
Okay, hit me.
His contention is that the United States, our culture, produces what he calls, basically, our culture produces a lot of sociopaths, whereby where you have all these shootings, that's kind of a feature of the system we have, as opposed to something that's odd or abnormal. It's a normal, recurring, predictable feature. And I spent a better half of the day trying to look for him, looking for a clip of him explaining it so I could put it on the show. I was not able to find it, but I will find it and bring it to the people.
Okay.
But yeah, what say you?
I'm intrigued by the. Well, let me say this back to you so that I'm not mistaken. So, his idea that we have a culture that creates, or I'll say creates.
Yeah, I think I mean, almost like manufactures, produces
sociopaths.
Mm-hmm.
So a sociopath is, someone who has no remorse, really no self-awareness.
Now,
although
we might be confusing a sociopath with a psychopath, but just for good measure, a person with the manifesting extreme. What you're saying?
Yeah, let's find. Let me do a quick sociopath
versus psychopath.
Yeah, let me see a sociopath. Yeah, there it is. Socio versus psycho. So maybe first of all, yeah, I don't want to go off on be complete. Psychopaths tend to be more manipulative, can be seen by others as more charming.
Oh yeah,
a semblance of a normal life.
So you're more likely to like a psychopath.
Sociopaths tend to be more erratic,
and not
rage-prone, and unable to lead as much of a normal. You know what? I am absolutely no fan of today's culture, and I would, so right there, I buy in. I think that we are raising generations of potential sociopaths. I buy into that.
What?
Yeah, I do, man. I mean, look, just I can. I mean, I can. I mean, just I can make generalizations, I suppose. But look how kids are what kids are exposed to today. In all aspects of their life. It's you know what? I the more I think about it, the more I agree with that guy that we are creating a bunch of sociopaths. I'm down with that, man.
I expected us to go to the mat on that one.
Did you really?
Yeah, like if I weren't sitting down, I almost fell out of my chair.
Well,
so
you've done that to me. You've done that to me. But you've done that to me on a few occasions, so we're even, I suppose.
Oh, I mean, so at first blush, that doesn't sound crazy, but I'm going to find a clip where he goes into and explains it, and after you hear his reasoning, I'd be interested in hearing your take on it as well.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's so yeah. I mean, so. And this kind of made me think about the the ongoing gun debate, which is going to be heating up just because it's, I guess, 2 to 3 days after something horrible like that happens, people,
Shocking. I didn't see that coming.
what?
Talk about gun control.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't see that coming, really? Do you have eyes?
Yeah. I did. Yeah. What gun control? What are you talking about? No. Okay. So
No,
yeah.
but so yeah, I expected us to go to war on that one.
No. I'm about that. I'm not a fan of today's culture,
But
especially what it does to our kids.
I think he would also say that this is not this is not a new phenomenon.
No.
I think once you hear his logic, I think you'll. But yeah, I'll bring it to you, and we'll see how you react to it.
Yeah, find it for me. I'll check it out, and I'll clip it if I find some interesting stuff, and maybe maybe it'll be a quick hit next week.
All right, cool.
My thoughts as far as Georgia, the massage parlor murders go. First of all, we all act like massage parlors don't have this connotation about them. Like, I mean, everyone knows about, especially after that old crepit the New England Patriots owner.
Oh yeah,
got busted.
Kraft.
Yeah, massage, especially Asian massage parlors. There's there's a reason people talk about happy endings.
Oh yeah.
And so we act like, and I'm not saying that they're not legitimate businesses, but in this context, we're acting like this just some business, and maybe it is just some business, but and both of us know very well that, and not because of us, but we know people that there is such a thing called yellow fever.
That's something we were talking about the other day.
Well, we were, as it related to this, yeah, and we both. You say two guys, but no, yeah, you're right. We both knew two guys who we would say who was diagnosed with that.
Clinical.
And yeah, and so I don't know. I see this guy had an obsession with Asian chicks. It's a thing. I mean, if you go to YouPorn or PornTube or whatever the porn sites are.
Yeah, I have no idea what they would be. None, zero.
I've heard
Yeah,
that they
I mean,
exist.
yeah, there's porn on the internet, really? Holy crap!
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
If you go to the dark webs and stuff, maybe I don't know.
Bad web.
Yeah, but it's a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I suspect that, and again, of course, this is just me, blowing smoke. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing, I'm theorizing that this guy had he probably had a porn addiction. He says he has a sex addiction, but porn is just so prevalent today that I'm sure that he just got this Asian porn addiction, and he was got tired. I hear that real Asian porn, all the naughty bits are pixelated out.
That's Japanese porn.
Isn't Japanese? Isn't that considered Asian?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, all Japanese porn is Asian, but not all Asian porn is Japanese.
There you go. So I don't know. I'm going to say, I know that there's a big push to make this an anti-Asian racial attack, but I think I really honest to God think that the dude you take a combination of mentally unstable combined with an Asian porn addiction and
easy access to guns.
gun, having a gun, but before that, even just, he probably went to these places looking for the happy ending, the thing that's not on the menu. And when he didn't get that 2 or 3 times, it's like it's time to take things into my own hand. That's just completely a theory, but
But truly, like, I mean, that is one theory, and
yeah,
chances favor.
it's a pretty out there theory too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I heard a slightly different version of it. Like, he ran out of money, and so he wasn't able to get his fix, and so now they all have to die. But I think even in this, you kind of see the sociopathiness coming through in this guy's actions, and so an average person, if you're unable to fulfill some type of fantasy, the next step isn't shooting up the place where your fantasy can't be fulfilled. That's usually not the next step. The average person goes home and is frustrated and
masturbates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the average person does. But this guy had a different, and that guy that I made reference to earlier, he said, hey, like, he took a me problem and made it into a we problem.
Again, if you're trying to make me hate this guy, you're going about it all wrong. Because I agree. Yes.
Oh no! This guy, once again, one of the guys I listen to expand my thinking, and so, but I realize that he's, in some ways he's out there, but I think on a lot of things he's on point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I don't know, man. Like, what are you drinking?
Yeah, it's my mezcal keto concoction.
You know what it is? I think I may have figured out the difference between mezcal and tequila. Okay. And I think what it is that mezcal makes you chill and easygoing, whereas tequila makes you mean and want to fight.
I do often refer to tequila as Juice de El Diablo.
Juice of the devil?
Yeah.
That sounds like the very beginning of wisdom there, man.
Well, do we? I'm sorry that I didn't put an article about Georgia in here, but I do have an article linked from the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
And for all of their faults, what I do like about Daily Mail articles is that at the beginning of the article they give you like a bunch of bullet points.
Yeah, that way you don't have to read it all.
And I have that here in the show notes if we want to just go down through them and maybe if anything jumps out at us we can. And again, this is about the Boulder shooter. Ahmad Alyssa's brother-in-law described him as a loner with a reputation for not being smart.
Yeah.
He said he did. Yeah, let's go.
You're saying.
I was just moving down to the next bullet point. He said he does not regularly go to the mosque, and that he has never had a girlfriend.
21 years old.
Yeah, I'm seeing the makings of a sociopath, my man.
Yeah.
He added that no one in the family knows what his motive for killing 10 people on Monday was.
Yeah, that's probably that makes sense. Like, if they knew what the motive was, that might make them an accessory.
Ooh. He killed 2 people in the parking lot before entering the store, where he killed another 8 people. Yeah, I heard that someone reported seeing him like shoot one person, and then stand over top of him and just like unload his gun into him.
Damn.
That's some that almost sounds personal, man.
Yeah. Like
I mean that's some rage. But then again, rage that was one of the definitions of sociopath. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
The one that caught my eye: investigators search his family's $800,000 five-bedroom home in Arvida, Colorado, on Tuesday. $800,000, and so this guy wasn't poor.
No, hell, I'd like to see I'd like to live in an $800,000 house, man.
Yeah, I
Shit.
would too. Five
In
bedroom.
Facebook, yeah, in Facebook posts over the last 2 years, he ranted about Islamophobes hacking his cell phone.
Okay.
Okay, early on, I remember early on when I was reading things about this dude, I think I seen that they said he was posting on Facebook and stuff, asking questions about or he asking questions about whether it was possible to hack cell phones, and that he thought that his cell phone was being hacked. So actually, I think they said it was being hacked. He thought it was being hacked by the FBI, but that's interesting.
That might, I mean, given with how his story is unfolding, um, that may have been, an appropriate thing to do to him.
Yeah, this all leads up to my coup d'état here at the end.
Mhm.
Alyssa's that's weird. I've seen it pronounced too. I've seen it written two ways. Al-Issa, Al-Issa, and then and this here shows it as Alyssa. But Alyssa's brother told the Daily Beast he was very antisocial and has been paranoid since high school. He described him as mentally ill, said he'd been bullied in school, and that it was not politically motivated.
Okay.
It was also revealed that Alyssa blacked out and attacked a classmate who called him a terrorist in 2017.
Yeah,
blacking out, and attacking someone sounds like it would go along with that sociopath
Yeah.
diagnosis.
He said I was a terrorist. I just got so mad that, and the next thing I remember is just waking up in the principal's office in trouble.
Right. His sister-in-law said she'd seen him playing with a gun recently, but did not suspect him of violence. I got. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta say this real quick. Shit. Do you remember? I think it was on this podcast that I told a story about a classmate of mine who was always who was like very. He
Yes, you
scared
did.
me.
I remember that. He wrote the story about like massacre at something high school or something like that.
I love your memory, Joe. Yes, absolutely. That's the dude. Here's a for real story, man. When we have in I live on like it's not really like a farm, but it's kind of a farm, is where I grew up. And we had back in the barnyard, there was this we had this building that it was just like a building with I don't know, I'd say it was 20 by 20, and it had like vinyl siding. And anyway, it was me and my friends, we would always spend the night out there and stuff during the summers.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this dude was always like just really very all about the military and stuff. And so when we was talking about when I kept seeing we heard it in that clip, and I've seen it in a bunch of articles. They keep talking about military style or AR-17 style weapons and stuff. And it just reminded me, style doesn't mean shit, because I can remember back when we were kids, he had a BB gun that just looked like a machine gun, man. I mean, it looked like a machine gun, but it was just a BB gun. And one time we was, oh man, I could have beat the shit out of him that night, man. We were spending the night out in that building, and it was like midnight, 1 o'clock. The entire town is dead asleep. So we were going to, just go out and I don't know, we're probably, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 or whatever. But we was going to go out and I don't know. Well, I don't know what we thought we were going to do, but he had his assault type BB gun, and I had my regular BB gun, like a Daisy BB gun.
Yeah, this seemed like one of those stories that nothing good could come from this.
No, wait, just wait. We was gonna we was just I don't know we was just gonna go out into the barnyard and fuck around, I guess. And he went out ahead of me, and then I came out of the building and I was like, "Hey, Anthony," and he spun around, let one go, fired it off, and he didn't hit me, but I heard he hit the building.
Mm-hmm.
And that next day, man, I found the hole. It was like the hole where he hit the building was like eye level with me, man.
Oh, so that could have been your eye.
It could have been my eye. And oh my god, I was so pissed that night. And then when I seen that, I was even more pissed. But anyway, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent there, but that jumped in my head and I had to share.
Did you seek any revenge?
No, he was crazy. I knew then he was. I knew then that he was unhinged, man. He was. Jesus, I hope that he never hears these podcasts. But I'll be honest, man. I'm surprised that he wasn't. I mean, he would be a prime candidate for any of these mass shootings that we've heard about in the past 20 years, man.
Now the other thing, the Frimpong guy, the guy I was making reference to.
Yes.
And just he goes by the Funky Academic. If you're ever interested in looking him up on YouTube, but he says like, hey, you know what? The country regularly produces sociopaths, and we know who these people are.
No, you're absolutely right. We do know who they are. Well, yeah, I knew who he was.
Pretty good idea who it is.
That's a great point because you're right. That's crazy because it was a different time. I mean, yeah, that's crazy, dude. I got to think about this more. I want to talk about it, but I don't know exactly what I want to say.
Well, you know what? I get the feeling we'll be doing this again.
I think we will. But I will say, I mean, he did. I mean, he ended up he followed his dream. I mean, he went to the army, and I don't know exactly what he did in the army, but from what I gather, he like went into like undercover. He was doing like undercover drug shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember he like I hadn't seen him. I mean, he like left our school like junior year, and then so I went ahead my senior year. I graduated. I did a year, and then I graduated when I was 17. Not because I was smart, just because of the year, just because my birthday was in July. So, but then I worked, and I had my wreck when I was 21, and I know that I probably started driving when I was 22. So I met him. He contacted me, and I met him at the Dayton Mall when I was probably 22 or so. So it had been like 4 or 5 years since I'd seen him. But he he used to be like, I mean, as crazy as he was, he used to like be quick to laugh. He was always anything that was funny. He would always he had like the craziest laugh.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, like, did he have like an unhinged laugh?
It was borderline unhinged. But when I met up with him, man, it was like
you say it was like an ice block, like a different guy.
Yeah, I'd say something funny, and he just kind of like he'd like maybe he'd like maybe crack a smile, but he wouldn't say anything, and it's just very off-putting. And I don't know, I don't know. I think I was just trying to like crack the ice or whatever, and I was like, because he had talked about how he had been in the army and what he had done and how he'd went undercover, and how it was kind of rough and hard and whatever. And I was just trying to like lighten the mood, but this was the wrong thing to say. I was like, "Did you ever kill anybody?" And he just got like real quiet and looked at me, and
Was his eyes really intense when he looked at you?
oh yeah, I got a chill, man, and I just was like, "Fuck."
Like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I'm out of this mall because he might go back to
Yeah,
his car.
I did. I mean, I tried to end things as quick as I could, and just because I'll be honest, he scared me. I was scared. He scared
Oh
me.
crap!
But I never thought about mass shootings and shit. I was more concerned about, I guess, my own safety. But back then, mass shootings wasn't a real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they were the thing, but they weren't like they are today. But anyway, I guess yeah. Something he would have been a prime candidate for some of these things that we're talking about. And it's interesting that when you say that, yeah, we know who they are because I knew who he was.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, in theory, if you
This blew my mind, man. I got to think about this more.
what?
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's funny because when we were like, yeah, like it looks like we're gonna, I was like, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to start talking about that Asian thing, and then this thing happened. I'm like, yeah, I think we're gonna have to talk about that other thing, and then yeah, that guy's voice, funky academic, that whole like, hey, we produce a lot of sociopaths, we know who they are. That came ringing back in my mind, and the goal was to find a clip where he explains his thought in a succinct way, but I wasn't able to find that. But
is he on YouTube? Is he on YouTube?
yeah, he's on YouTube. Great. I mean, yeah. If you want to find him, he goes by the handle funky academic.
I'll see if I can find it because it's easy enough I can rip the audio out of YouTube videos pretty easily. So
Yeah. Now, once again, yeah, he's mind expanding. So, yeah. But a great guy that puts things in perspective, though, or puts things in a perspective.
I'll smoke a bowl before I put him on, man. My mind is accepting. Expand it, sir.
But let's see here. Anything else on this this list of?
We're at the second from the bottom. If you want to read some, the shooting is the 7th.
All right, the shooting's the 7th mass shooting in the U.S. in a week. Damn.
What?
And comes 6 days after 8 people died in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like we got a problem.
Yeah.
President Biden on Tuesday called for a nationwide assault rifle ban and tighter laws on background checks.
Yes. I know that there's an avenue that we can go down here on gun control. I don't think we have time for that necessarily.
Unfortunately, we don't.
We will talk about it.
Yeah, this is one of those stories that it'll be in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do more thought on this. What I do want to touch on before we move on. I have a second article here, and this is where I'm getting ready to go down the rabbit hole. I'm greasing myself up so I can
slide
right down. This is Boulder, Colorado. Mass shooting suspect was known to the FBI.
Yeah.
The suspected gunman who killed 10 people in a mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado grocery store this week was previously known to the FBI, according to a report. Ahmad Al-Aliwi Alisa, a 20-year-old from Denver suburb of Arvada, was linked to another individual under investigation by the Bureau, the New York Times reported Tuesday.
For what?
Yeah, I know. You know, I know that I've talked about it on this podcast, and I know that I've talked to you about this. You know, and it's not a belief, it's not a conspiracy, it's a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. The FBI's modus operandi is to find mentally ill, weak-minded people and um,
Kind of
and
dupe them,
guide
set them
them
up.
and guide them into doing horrible things, and then at the last minute jumping in to arrest them and save the day and saying, look what we did, this justifies, give us, this justifies our existence and give us
Or
more money
budget.
for. Yeah.
Now, wouldn't it be a terrible thing if somewhere there's a memo about we procured a dummy rifle for Mr. Alyssa, and we're closely watching him, and then Mr. Alyssa gets other ideas and goes out and gets the real thing because he wants to make sure that his kill spree is kill spree tastic. Um,
I acknowledge right off the bat that this is just my theory, but there's no there I could spend another entire show going through examples of the FBI following this exact recipe.
Oh, I
And
mean, it's funny because as far back as us, when we originally were talking, we would put our finger on that scenario you just put your finger on. They'd find some patsies that, oh yeah, I want to do some terrible stuff, and next thing you know, somebody shows up. Hey, do you want to do some terrible stuff? And by the way, I've got a bomb here. You know.
yeah,
But
there's one thing from wanting to do something to someone making it so drop dead easy for you to do it that you can't say no, kind of a thing,
no, yeah, like you were talking all that mess before. Now press the button, damn it.
Right. And I'm going to say this, even though I can't back it up. I should go re-verify it, but for the purposes of this conversation, I'm almost positive that the very first World Trade Center bombing, where the bomb went off in the parking garage,
Like 93 or 95 or something like that.
right? I'm almost positive that was the result of a botched FBI sting. I'm not. I need to verify that, but I remember hearing that somewhere, man.
If that was the case, I don't think there'd still be an FBI. They would have changed the name to something else.
That's fair enough. I could be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong.
But hey,
anyway, I'm curious about. I want to know. I'm curious to see what comes out in the next, because we know from experience that initial reports are almost always wrong, and we always learn new things, and so I will be curious to see what comes out in the following weeks regarding this guy.
And the other thing we know is that your average 19, 20-year-old doesn't end up on the FBI's radar.
Yes. Right.
If you're engaging in typical 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old tomfoolery, you don't end up on the FBI's radar. So to me, that suggests that there may have been more political motive than anyone's being honest about right now.
Yeah, this might be the cover your ass phase of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, Joe, if there's nothing else to say about that, let's move. What do you say we move on to some more lighthearted?
Yeah. That was a pretty dark yet interesting turn we took.
Yeah, I mean, 18 total people dead. That's and it could yeah, I'm about the whole Socio. I'm gonna look this dude up and see if I can find this video you're talking about. I want my mind to be expanded.
If you could hold off, if you could let me look over it for the weekend and see if I can find a very succinct, because smart guy, but he loves it, like go on population. What am I looking for? On tangents.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, okay.
And that irritates me.
Sure. Uh, do you want to read this or shall I? It's up to you. It's I feel like I've been dominating the podcast. So if you want to read
No, yeah,
this,
I don't like
we'll
reading
do
out
it.
loud. Yeah, you can dominate that, sure.
All right. Cheerleader mom arrested after creating a deep fake images showing the rivals naked and drinking. Jesus.
Not sure where the
Only
crime
in
is here, but I'm interested.
only in the 21st century. Am I right?
Yeah, we just got finished talking about sociopaths. This is
Yeah.
just a sociopath with a different flavor.
Yes. Front, Pennsylvania, a cheerleader mom has been arrested for allegedly creating libelous fake photos of girls on her daughter's cheerleading team. Rafaela Spone, 50, was charged with harassment and cyber harassment charges last week. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, Spone is accused of creating deepfake photos and videos showing 3 members of the Victory Vipers cheer squad naked, drinking, and smoking.
Quick
The
question:
three
how
gir-
old were these little girls?
I am guessing when I hear cheerleader squad, I'm guessing anywhere between 16 to 18 is what I'm.
Yeah.
Maybe let's say 15 to 18. Let's say 15 to 18. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming high school cheerleaders, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. We're assuming that, but I've seen cheer squads where the girls look like they're really, really, really young, like John Benet Ramsey's age.
Oh my God, yeah. No, I for my for my own sanity, I got to keep this at the between the 16 to 18 range.
All right, fair enough.
Otherwise, I just got to stop. I just got to stop right now.
Okay.
Uh, the 3 girls who were victimized by the photos had reportedly had a falling out with Spone's daughter, and she wanted them kicked off the team. Spone allegedly created the deepfakes by mapping the victims' social media photos onto other images in a bid to make them look real, according to the Daily Mail. Deepfaking is the process of doctoring an existing image, but it is more sophisticated than Photoshop because it uses a form of artificial intelligence. No, it uses a form of machine learning. But anyway, that's what I was saying. So this has to be more than just a Photoshop thing. So it's interesting unless there are like open source. Either one, this mom is like a computer scientist, or maybe there's like some open source software out there that does this kind of stuff. I don't know. I've not heard of it, although I've never looked for it.
Or it could be just a reporter, just using the wrong word,
Ooh, yeah.
being dumb.
That could be, but
It's probably more likely that.
Well, I mean, but hopefully there's more to this than her just like cutting and pasting a picture and pasting it onto another picture. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, because deep fakes. I mean, I've seen some real deep fakes before and they're
convincing.
They're pretty damn convincing, and in fact, they're probably going to be the future of Hollywood.
Dude. You remember Gary McGillivray?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
That was his big thing. He was like, yeah, they're not gonna need actors in like 10, 15 years.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, if you can create people, I seen a picture one time of a woman, like the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, but it was a computer generation.
Yeah,
So
I would probably almost assume the most beautiful woman I've seen, if she's not in front of me, was generated by a computer.
So why pay Tom Cruise or Scarlett Johansson $20-30 million for a movie if we can just make up make up someone and yeah, Hollywood should be worried about this deep fake thing.
Oh
That's what
yeah,
I'm thinking.
yeah. They should be. Well, actually, the studios will probably love it.
Yes, the
But if you're an
studios.
actor,
Yeah, you're shivering in uh Prada shoes or
yeah,
whatever. I don't know. What's an expensive shoe?
Prada.
Okay. I didn't want to say that because I have a pair of Prada glasses.
Yeah, but that sounds like the Brian Newman I know.
um the investigation began. Oh, wait. She also purportedly sent the doctored images directly to the teenage girls. It says teenage girls. So, along with a message to one of them urging her to kill herself.
Damn,
Jesus.
Mom.
The investigation began last July, and detectives traced 4 phone numbers that had sent the deepfake images and tied them all to a telemarketing website. They then traced data from that website to an IP address at Spone's house. It's, she did a respect. I mean, I get that she tried to mask her, but wow, I don't know.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I don't know what was that.
Yeah, I was looking at a picture of this woman, and
Oh yeah.
turned out it was a video. Huh?
Does it? I was going to bring it up later. I didn't include it in the notes, but the picture of her, she looks like a freaking psycho, don't she?
Oh yeah. She looked like the type of psycho that would like doctor pictures and be dumb enough to try to get people to quit.
Yeah. A subsequent search of Spone's phone uncovered the text messages and deepfake images that she had sent to the 3 victims and the team's coaches. The images and videos reportedly showed the cheerleader rivals naked, drinking, and smoking. I don't know, man. I got to see these pictures before I can verify that I think they were deepfakes, man.
Yeah, no, you don't, because that would probably, it's got the teenage girl's face on it, so that makes it kitty porn.
Yeah, that'll put me on a list.
Yep, a list you don't want to be on. Another list you don't want to be on.
Right. Spone has not yet entered a plea and has been released on bond. Court records obtained by the Philadelphia Inquirer state that there is no evidence Spone's daughter knew what her mother was doing. You know, and this is a great story, but parents that get way too invested in their high school kids' athletics it's not just limited to this, man. I mean, I know that. I mean, you go to a high school baseball game or whatever, and there's always that one parent who's just way too involved in things. The one that's like nonstop ripping the umpire. The
And
one
yelling from the
who's
stands.
exactly, man. The one you want to like move away from. And it's that high, basketball, all the parents just get way too involved in their there's no big psychological. It doesn't take Freud to analyze they're trying to like relive some past glory days, either through their kids or whatever. Maybe they didn't make it to the big game, so they're bound and determined to make sure that
Your
their
kid
kid
does.
does. So
But
crazy stuff, man.
wait, do you think this is the first time she's done something like this, though?
Maybe the first time she did something to this extreme, but no. I'm sure she's. Well, I don't know. They said she was prompted by a falling out with other people on the squad. Maybe I don't know, man. But no. This is not the first time she's done some abnormal things. How about
Yeah,
that?
exactly. That was my point. Like, once again, that we know who they are.
We do. We know who they are, man. There's something to that. I like that whole "we know who they are" thing. That's something that we need to think about more because that's great. I
It's
like it.
insightful.
It is insightful. I like it. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't come up with it first. Joe, you used to refer to me as the sage.
Oh, I sure did.
I'm afraid that I'm falling out of favor, maybe.
No, I wouldn't say that.
All right. Well, Joe, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. You got any big plans for the weekend? Doing anything fun?
My only real plan is to be awesome.
To be awesome. Well, that's just being you, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Well, I got to work Saturday, and it's probably going to require me to be online with work for the entire day. But I am looking forward to F1 this weekend. It's
Yeah, you're right.
I'm really I'm hoping that Red Bull is all of the hype that we've been hearing about Red Bull is legit, and I'm really hoping that Mercedes has some stumbles this year, because it's not fun to watch a race when you know who's going to win every time. So that's what I got planned.
It's like watching a game where the Yankees are playing.
Do the Yankees always win? Or do
Well,
they always lose? I don't
well,
know.
they're pretty. Yeah, they're a dynastic team. So
To all of our wonderful listeners, please join us here next week, where we will continue our never-ending quest of solving the world's problems one drink at a time. Take care, everybody.